And joining us tonight is author and wordsmith Kel Richards and Lisa Goddard from Adoni Media up there in Brisbane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's lovely to see you here this evening. Let's jump straight in because we know what the front pages are going to be all about. The national broadsheet tomorrow. Our Freedom Fleet is the splash. Australia will start work immediately on a historic $368 billion plan to transform the nation's defence capabilities that will ultimately deliver two types of nuclear-powered submarines with massive long-range strike missiles to help counter China's growing military expansion. The plan will be put into action this year with more regular port visits by US nuclear subs, accelerating the training of Australian submariners, and hundreds of defence industry workers are embedded in the US and British submarine production lines. It has been in the news all day, obviously, with that press conference between the three world leaders taking place in San Diego today. But I think a special shout out to the NT News. I think they definitely win when it comes to the headlines tomorrow. What's up? Is this splash in the top end tomorrow? I think that absolutely takes the cake, and that's what I think is probably going to cut through with most people in Australia tomorrow. But I just wanted to bring your attention to another story on the front of the Australian. It's a fantastic comment piece by the political editor Simon Benson. Albanese reshapes defence and the ALP. Anthony Albanese and his Defence Minister Richard Marles have delivered a national defence outcome that not so long ago would have been unthinkable for Labor. Lisa, I'll start with you. It has been a really interesting day when it comes to all things defence. It's a very heavy, dense news day, but I think it's great when we see some fantastic opinion pieces that are going to come through the ranks tomorrow, such as Greg Sheridan and, of course, this piece by Simon Benson. It is really interesting to kind of look at it with that political lens over it and the fact that it kind of is reshaping, Labor's stance on things like defence.
Yeah, Jenny, you're right. And look, we've seen a good 3 or 4 day lead up to this announcement today. As you say, it's been wall-to-wall coverage. And I found a few things really interesting when you look at the way this was handled. The word China or the name China wasn't mentioned in anything that they were talking about publicly. Also, if you look at the documents that were released, there was no mention naming China as such. But we all know, it's all very clear, this is a reaction to the threat that is coming from China. And as you say, for Labor, this is pro-nuclear, which is completely against what they've been. And I think what this does, if we talk, move away from defence, because we've heard this discussed all day, and it's across most of the mastheads tomorrow, as it should be. But what this raises now is the question about nuclear power in this country. If it's, they've said, yes, let's have the nuclear subs, which is great, and we desperately need them. In fact, we need them sooner than what we're going to have them delivered to us. But if we can have nuclear powered subs, well, we need to start having that conversation about nuclear power to keep this country's lights on and the manufacturing underway, because at the moment, relying on renewable energy alone and not having a discussion about nuclear is just ignorant.
Yeah, you definitely read David Pemberthy's take on this in The Australian tomorrow. It is a fantastic analysis on where we go with the discussion around nuclear.